Everybody, we are back. It is Safe Online's favorites podcast, favorites channel, favorites everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasups.com. Discount code TDL for all your protein needs. They got some new proteins in there, man. Go ahead and check that out. Support the channel. You know what I'm saying? Give me some more promo pay. You know what I mean? If you're new here, get you some Panda Supplements. All right, guys. So we are here. I mean, the game's still on. It's 23-21. There's just a catch and like a drop here, but the game's basically over, and we don't care about wins or losses here that much. I mean, some fans do, some fans don't. We don't. We don't care about wins and losses here.
I did see a great tweet from Bill that like kind of summed it up. It's like Josh McDaniels was 6-1 in the preseason as the Raiders head coach. So again, wins and losses not that big of a deal, as we can find out.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's not that big of a deal at all. All right, so but in the first half, we got to see a lot of the starters go. I mean, of course, the quarterback competition was super interesting to see Aiden O'Connell go out there first, and he had a good drive. I mean, he started like at the 6-yard line or something like that, got all the way down there, ended up getting a field goal, but it's still a good drive. I mean, just starting from how far back you are, and then getting at least three out of it. I still think that play call, I don't know what happened on that play call with Luke Getsy at the end, but so that was a good drive with him. And then he came out pretty quick. I thought he would at least get 2 series, at least, even though I know he did come out pretty quick, but so did the first team offensive line, because Andre James came out. I mean, they had Jordan Meredith out there. Parham was still out there, but then they moved Mumford and to left tackle, and then had what was it?
Hey, Glaze at left tackle too for a little bit.
Yeah.
That might have been the second half.
Yeah. And then Glaze was at right tackle with Mumford after that first series. So, and then Minshew came in there. He played pretty well. He ended up 6 for 12 for like 117 yards, I believe. So, I mean, the stat line kind of doesn't show as much, like, some of the good throws he had. Probably had the better throws of the day. The touchdown throw, and then the one to Tucker. I don't know if Tucker misjudged that and he had to turn around, or but the quarterback usually throws it outside on that one, so kind of I feel like that was still a good throw for Minshew. But of course, you saw a little bit some other things from him. So what were your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought it was I thought it summed up both quarterbacks pretty well. I think O'Connell was a little bit more steady and a little bit more consistent than Minshew was. I mean, the only throw that really stood out that was bad from O'Connell was the one where he's like on the bootleg rollout and try to throw it without his feet set and skipped it to the receiver, which, I mean, we know that's not O'Connell's skill set. We know we want him to stay in the pocket and not really the bootleg type of guy. But I thought for the most part, he's pretty consistent. The play I think that stood out the most that a lot of people were talking about on Twitter was that third down conversion where he did a nice job stepping up in the pocket and then threw a strike to, I think it was Jacoby Myers, to pick up the third down conversion. That was really nice to see, just because showed a little bit more of his pocket mobility, which is one of the biggest things that I think we were hoping to see from him this season, or one of the biggest areas of growth from him. And like you said, kind of or started at their own 4 or whatever, and led a drive to at least put some points on the board. Would have liked to finish it at the end, but it was a tough one. Andres Pete had a rough day against Dallas Turner today, because there was a play before that too where he got beat by Turner, and I do feel like the Raiders were missing Colton Miller a little bit, not to get on too much of a tangent, just because, again, Pete struggled. Line's really struggled in the second half. But getting back to the quarterbacks, I felt like Minshew, it would like I said, it summed both of those guys up pretty well. Where like Minshew made some nice throws, like he said, the throw of the day was the 45-yard corner that he threw to Trey Tucker, which was a nice ball. But like 2 before that, I think you were talking about this too. I don't know. Maybe it was a cut route break by Trey Tucker, but he threw it behind him. The throw after that, I think he actually threw for an incompletion that was behind the receiver. Bailed out of some clean pockets that I thought could have stuck around in and whatnot. But again, you get the highlight play of the 45-yard pass. That was a nice ball again. Just less consistent and a little bit more erratic, which again, I feel like sums up his game pretty well. Whereas O'Connell, who might not have had the flashy plays and whatnot, but was definitely more steady Eddie. And I think, if you hear about what Antonio Pierce wants from his quarterbacks, it still, to me, favors O'Connell and how he played a little bit better today, or how he played today with more consistency.
Yeah. He just looked more in control a little bit, I guess. He looked more in control in the offense. Yeah, and then Minshew just looks like Gardner Minshew to me. This is
Yeah,
that I ever seen. So
yeah,
like we got somebody destroyed, right? It was all
yeah,
it was the
yeah,
Minshew all in one, right? Some good throws, you like will kind of get you going, right? Get you in, and then ends up being a kind of a like another throw that just gets somebody destroyed. So it's a little bit of everything that comes with Gardner Minshew right there. I thought
yeah,
Aiden O'Connell actually had a good showing though, because he had some good throws. Started off good with good some first downs, moving the football efficient, and has some good movement in the pocket on one play. So yeah, it was just interesting to me that he came out really quick with the starters, and then they didn't play that much. I thought that maybe he would play a little bit more and maybe play into the game a little bit, but other than that, yeah, it was pretty good, man.
yeah. No, I mean, I don't know what Harrison Bryant did to Gardner Minshew, but yeah, that's the concern with Gardner. I think like we talked about it when we broke him down, like his lack of arm strength a little bit, like that ball was kind of lofted and let the safety get more time to be able to blow up Bryant on the catch point. And yeah, I think Bryant ended up being down for a little bit because that's kind of the part of the risk with Minshew. But yeah, and I think with O'Connell only getting the one series, like Pierce talked about it, like they're each going to get one quarter, and then with the Raiders defense just not really holding the Vikings on that first drive and even the second one a little bit. Obviously only got one drive. Or the Raiders as a whole only got one drive in the second half, so just kind of stuck to the plan a little bit. But hopefully next week get to see a couple drives at least from O'Connell.
Yeah. It was good to see a couple drives. Want to see some more drives from him, but I feel like Minshew was just got a little bit more time with the twos as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, you want to see what happens next week. Because going into the game, I thought Minshew was going to start. I mean, the way the media was talking about it, the way he was playing, talk about him in camp, and he's outperforming in camp, yada yada yada. Right? I thought they were going to play him first, but then O'Connell played first and then didn't play much, and then only play with the first team offensive line. So I think that's
right.
a little bit of a sign. I mean, nobody's going to point that out because Minshew threw a touchdown and he had those two long passes. So
Yeah,
because my dude's asking like, what did O'Connell do? I mean, he really didn't do much, but it was like he was efficient. I mean, that's really what he was, right?
yeah,
He was efficient, and he was 7 of 9 for 76 yards. It was just more efficient. Minshew, there's more explosive plays, but he was 6 for 12, right? So that's kind of like a little bit of the dynamic between them, but it's also plays into how O'Connell came out with basically the better old line, right? And so they kind of kept him safe. So we'll see next week if that switches up. But yeah. I mean, it kind of sums up the quarterback competition a little bit to me. We'll see what they do with Minshew next week, though. Maybe he gets to start. I don't know. Maybe you see O'Connell again. It's going to tell us a lot.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think if O'Connell gets to start again next week, then we have a real idea what the coaching staff thinks.
Yeah.
I would expect them to mix it up just thinking about it kind of on paper, give one guy to start and give him the other guy an opportunity the next week. But yeah, no, I mean, I know O'Connell didn't have the flashy plays, but I liked what I saw from him just from a consistency standpoint and the accuracy. I thought he had a little bit better game, or a little bit more, at least more consistent game than Minshew did today.
Yeah. Like I saw Coach A was talking about that's why you don't play man to man on 3rd and 10, because they did play some straight up press coverage on 3rd and 10. Tucker just destroyed that guy. So let's talk about some other guys in offense before we get to defense. Of course, Jacoby Myers, he looked really damn good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he looked damn good out there. He had a good catch on a throw from O'Connell, and had another good catch from O'Connell as well. So he looks really good out there. You definitely want to get him involved. They're going to get him involved. And they went 12 personnel that whole first drive. So I think I saw they did 14 plays. Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers had 11 snaps and 12 snaps, and Bowers, they were basically on the field the whole time together.
yeah,
So, and Bowers looked really good. So,
yeah.
what were your thoughts, man, on that?
No, I mean, I think you nailed it right there. I mean, Jacoby Myers, I think he had 3 catches for 45 yards on the drive, so that's a pretty good start. I mean, too, I thought Bowers, he had the one play that was schemed open with a really good play call from Luke Getsy on that like rub route where he was just wide open. You got to see a little bit of his work after the catch. I feel like his other catch, he got a first down on, right? Too. He had made like a nice play after the catch or something like that, or at least was like a decent play for him. And then Michael Mayer too made a nice little grab over the middle, I think in a tight window to get another first down. So it was nice to see too. I kind of liked what I saw from Luke Getsy. It was what we thought the offense would be, but I think what it needs to be, which was a lot of RPOs, a lot of quick game, a lot of screens. Which again, when you have quarterbacks that are a little shaky and you're not quite sure about, that's a good way to get the passing game going and keep defenses honest, stretch them vertically or horizontally rather than vertically when the vertical part of the game and vertical part of the pass attack's a struggle. So yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw from the offense, minus Andres Pete again, who we know is not a normal starter, but yeah, just not a great day for the vet going against the rookie there.
Yeah, man. Was that a good day? Dallas Turner was working him, bro. They were working him. But, the rest of the offensive line looked like they did pretty well. I mean, even the run game, I see people talking about Zamir White. I mean, like, that's what I like about Zamir White. He was getting 4 yards every time. Just 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, right? Right? I mean, that's not bad. I mean, you can't really complain with that, in my opinion. If you're getting your running back who's always going forward, because eventually he's going to break one, and you're going to get some good yardage out of him. So I think he had a positive game, and then he was able to get in the end zone too. Yeah, I did see what Des Bryant's tweeted, but they also think Trevor Lawrence is better than not as good as Gardner Minshew. So I mean, I'm not gonna get in that conversation. Sorry, that distracted me. But when we talk about some other receivers too, Trey Tucker, I thought he played pretty well too. And just finding those other tight ends as well. I mean, Michael Mayer had a catch, and about Bowers had a couple catches there too. I thought those guys around him played well too. And even if you go deeper into the game, you saw Jalen Guyton had a catch. They have some good depth at wide receiver, in my opinion, because I don't even think we saw Keaton or any of those guys really. I mean, I don't. I mean, no throw. I mean, unless Anthony Brown just didn't get the ball to those guys.
Well, I mean, second half that O-line was real bad. Anthony Brown got sacked 4 times in the third quarter alone. So I don't think he had much of an opportunity to find anyone down the field.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It got pretty ugly in that third quarter. So yeah. Maybe Keaton did play, and we just didn't recognize it because again, it was a tough sled in that third quarter.
Yeah, he might put up some great tapes. That's what I'm saying. We don't know. He might have some great film out there, just working somebody and just, that Bo Richter guy, man. I don't know who that guy was. Who's Bo Richter? You remember him, Matt?
What position?
I don't know. He was killing him. He was killing them out there. I don't know who that guy was.
Oh, from
the Vikings.
The Vikings? Yeah, I don't know. He's a service academy guy. I think they're talking about. Yeah, never heard of him. But yeah, he was the guy who beat Glaze on the inside move, right? Glaze overset. Was that the guy? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a game. He might have earned himself some cash.
But he made the team, man. Against the Raiders backup O-line. So. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to watch the film and see how these guys do, to be honest, and see how it looks, see if they what's wrong with that offensive line. Because Brian Flores was running stunts too. To be fair, I mean Brian Flores was still like throwing the. He's got to get those guys warmed up, man. Right?
What was the guy's name? 63. I looked it up. I got it here somewhere. Oh, Corey Luciano. That was a rough one for you, bud. It was one of the stunts where he just you can tell he had the oh shit moment and he recognized someone was looping around. Led to one of the sacks. I think he got beat one time, but it was a tough one. But I did think the starting O-line kind of circled back to that a little bit. The starting O-line, especially at the interior 3, it seemed like they were getting a good amount of push. Like a few of the runs, looked like they were resetting the Vikings defensive tackles. And I think I saw Harrison Phillips in there, who's a good player. And I mean, Vikings played a lot of their starters, so. That was nice to see too, especially from a unit that we're a little unsure about, and those interior 3 guys have a lot of question marks, and it seemed like they had a pretty good day against the run. But film will tell.
And then Dylan Lobby, he had a couple carries, but really didn't get too involved till later in the game. And then Sincere McCormick looked pretty good, and then Britton Brown got 2 tosses. He got them 2 let's just get out of here tosses. So kind of Abdullah got a lot of playing time. So did Madison. You kind of can see how this is going to shape up for the running back room, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know how many surprises we're going to get, but anyways, defense now. Okay, so everybody was upset about the defense for half the first drive, and then they shut them down, and then they got a pick right after that. What were some of your thoughts on the defense? You know, it was interesting that they didn't get too much of a pass rush, even though Wilkins killed.
Yeah.
He beat somebody really bad one time. But I
Yeah.
felt like they didn't get too much pass rush, and I don't know if Darisaw and O'Neal were out there. Were they out there? I don't know.
I think O'Neal was. Yeah, no, both of them were. I remember seeing Darius out there.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so I mean, those are
yeah,
some of the top. I mean, both those guys are top 15 tackles in the league,
yeah,
or I mean, either or at least top 20. I don't know how you rank O'Neal, but I think O'Neal's probably a top 20 tackle too. So that might have something a little bit to do with that, in my opinion. But yeah, I thought they started off well, the defensive line, because I see somebody talking about the run D didn't look good. I thought it did it first when Crosby and Kuntz were out there, and then when Wilkins and Crosby were out there, and those guys, and then those guys came out, it started to look a little different. But you saw Byron Young get pushed to the 50-yard line from the 30-yard line, and yeah, it was downhill from there once Wilkins and I mean, I didn't see John Jenkins, but once Kuntz, Wilkins, and Crosby went out, they were able to run the ball. So it kind of talks about the depth and what we see from this defensive end group.
yeah. I mean, Jenkins was in the game to start it, but yeah, I felt
Yeah.
definitely like you said, I felt like defense definitely came out a little flat. Like you said, the Vikings had quite a bit of success early in the game, and I think the most disappointing part was the pass rush just wasn't quite there, except for like one or two plays from Wilkins, and I think Crosby might have had like one pressure or something like that. So that was, I think, the most disappointing part. But I mean, to see them eventually wake up on that first drive and lock it down, and see a guy like Jacorian Bennett on that fourth down come up with a big play to get a PBU, who's a guy who Raiders are hoping or steps up as their cornerback too, and it's been getting a lot of hype in camp. To see him make a play in the preseason, that was good to see from him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, defensive line, a little bit of disappointment, but again, first game coming out, not what you'd hope for, but nothing too worried about. Playing against a good O line, like you said, a couple of good tackles out there. So
Yeah, and they're playing such vanilla secondary. I mean, they're playing vanilla cover three. That's why those guys were like running wide open over those digs. I mean, they're playing kind of just vanilla cover three. And then, I mean, Darnold made a great throw that over Spillane on one of them. That was like a layered throw. It's one of his best throws I've ever seen from him.
Yeah.
That throw, that was a throw, man. Because he layered that right perfectly. When the guy didn't even have to jump, but it was over Spillane's head. So that was a NFL throw that he made right there. So, I mean, if you have a quarterback who beats your coverage like that, I mean, there's really nothing you can do about it, in my opinion, because Spillane can't play that any better.
Yeah, it was like a dig route versus cover three, and like you said, like a nice ball, an NFL throw with a good call. Like it's hard to defend against, especially when you're not really mixing up the coverage and the blitz packages and running stunts and stuff like that. Especially when you get no pass rush. I guess where I'm
Yeah.
going.
So the game just ended. Raiders lost 24-23 on a game-winning field goal. So I saw somebody say preseason overreaction. Fire AP.
Fire AP. Blew a 13-point lead at halftime.
Yeah. So and then the secondary, like Jacorian Bennett had a great breakup. That was a great play in the back end, man. That was the type of play you want to see from him. And man to man, that was a great play, breaking up that play on fourth down. And of course, Jack Jones had the pick of JJ McCarthy. That was a great interception too, because that's not an easy catch for a cornerback to make that type of catch like that. So that was a pick, and so when you see it, and from that aspect, I think the secondary looked pretty good. So if they really start to mix up the coverages and actually try to play, you might see something different. Because like I said, I mean, Darnold made a crazy throw on one play, and they still didn't end up scoring, and they still ended up stopping him. So yeah, I think people were like kind of low on the defense started in that game and just allow that team to go down the field. But I think it was a mixture of good plays and sometimes just some good quarterback play.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you said, play a lot of the completions couldn't do much about. The only one that really stood out that I was like, ooh, that's a negative rep, or one that you kind of want back, was where Jack Jones, I think it was against Addison maybe, who got beat on the speed out. But yeah, other than that, like nothing that I would be too alarmed about. And Jones comes back and makes up for it later with a nice pick against McCarthy to undercut that route and see a little bit of those instincts that we've seen from him in the past. So yeah, nothing too concerning, I would say, against for the defense.
Yeah, yeah. And then that secondary came out, and then they looked really bad. Devonshire
MJ
got beat.
Devonshire, yeah, he had a rough one. Rough one.
You got beat on a cover 3 play, but that was bad. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, your job is to not let the deep pass go. I mean, even if you get an out route in front of you like that, you'd rather allow the out route than allow a guy just to run by you because you sitting on it. Like I don't know what was up with what was up with that. If you were asking about the timeout, was he calling timeouts or something?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I guess
Maybe
it was,
before the half. Is that what?
no, I don't know. I guess he's
At the end
calling
of the game.
timeouts right now. Yeah,
Nice.
allowing them to.
Nice.
Good job, maybe. Good job, AP. You want to get Carter Bradley some reps, man. Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the secondary ended up, and then there was a busted play that I really want to see on film because I don't know if it's on Trey Taylor or on Chris Smith, right? I don't know. People are saying it's Chris Smith. That's somebody do Raider Barry. He told me it's on Chris Smith, but I don't know. I feel like Taylor was supposed to do something there. He just like let the guy run by him. I don't know. Maybe could be wrong there, but the secondary was all over the place. So
we'll see that one on film, but it looked like Trey Taylor did his classic where he came downhill a little bit too far and then got beat over the top because it looked like they were expecting, or whoever was in coverage, was it Chris Smith, was expecting someone else to be there. But yeah, I'll be curious to see how that looked on the All-22. But I'm gonna say too, Cameron Richardson had another similar one where it was cover 2 where he kind of like took the cheese a little bit and they ended up hitting him over the top where not necessarily on him, but you would like to see him play that back to front and make that throw a little bit harder than he did. But so some rookie mistakes, some coverage breaks, which I think you kind of have to expect from the Raiders this preseason with how damn younger they are on the back end. So that's going to happen.
Yeah. He did call Carter Bradley Carter. The Bradley Carter's in the game.
Yeah. The old comma got the old comma with the last name first instead of first name last. Got the best of them.
It's funny. This guy said the NFL should make teams play vanilla O and D. Games are closer and exciting, but just no mixing up the. I mean, that just goes back to 1984, man. That's what we take it back.
What? You guys just hate defense, don't you? You just want to make everything harder for the defense, man. Come on, guys. Come on. Let us do something. Let's mix up the coverage, run a trap coverage every now and again. Like, come on now. All these damn rules to protect the offense.
I know, right?
Mix it up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so to me, if this ever a sign they need to sign a corner, it was this game. I mean, they need to sign a quarterback. I don't know, like for depth for my
depth. Yeah.
Because just imagine, right? And I hate saying this, but this is football. Like, what if somebody gets injured? Like,
yeah, especially if Faisland's going to be injured for much longer. Because he didn't play today, and didn't he get banged up towards the end? Towards like at some point this week? I remember seeing him sitting out of practice. So yeah, if Faisland's going down, that's like the one vet they have that's going to make the team. That's the one guy that's not on a rookie contract. So yeah, they could use some a little bit of depth. That's definitely going to be an issue because they are, again, we've talked about this several times. They are very young at corner, very young at corner.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody needs to be pushed down at least one spot down the TV chart. But I mean, it makes a little bit of point. I mean, Haas plays outside, so that kind of just takes that away. But plays inside. I mean, but just what I'm saying, they can sign any. I think they should sign like 2 guys. To be honest, in my opinion, I feel like they should if they could get Gilmore, there's a Dory Jackson, and I'm sure there's some other halfway decent player out there. There's a whole list of them, and just sign 2 guys because I think they need serious depth there because I don't. It's kind of scary because just imagine you get to put Richardson and Devonshire out there. Devonshire is getting burned on playing basic cover 3 coverage. He's getting burned deep. You know what I mean? That's just not
coverage. You can't get beat deep on.
Yeah, you're not supposed to get beat deep on the coverage. You're supposed to stay with him, and he's getting burned. You know what I'm saying? And the guy, and he didn't run like a funky route. He just kind of did a little shift on him. Yeah, he just a little shift on him. Even though he was gonna stop, it was like a double move. You know what I mean? And he just that was like, okay, go get you. Like, I don't know. I feel like put up a list of the cornerback free agents because there's
some good ones out there.
Yeah, they're better veterans. You know what I mean? Like a guy who's not going to get beat playing cover 3 like that. I mean, that's you have to watch that and be like, hey, maybe we should do something because we can't just depend on Hobbs, Bennett, and Jones all year. You know what I mean? And if that goes a different way, man, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on the guy because I don't think he's that great anymore. But like you said, you brought up Adoree Jackson. Like he could be a decent like backup option because he can play inside and out a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
if God forbid anything happened to Hobbs, where I think was it last year that Hobbs missed 6 games or 2 years ago, or whatever. But Hobbs has been hurt in the past. Is kind of what I'm talking about. And you want to have someone in there that can step in, and he might be someone that could do it. Kind of could be like the Meek Robertson of last couple of years, where he just is that first corner off the bench. But
Yeah, because even at safety, I mean, I was like thinking like maybe they should, look at some safeties too, man. I mean, see if there's some safeties out there because I'm talking about like more depth wise, right? Just so they could have a better defense because injuries are going to happen. I mean, it's the NFL, man, and I know some of the better teams they have are healthy, but I think you feel better if you have depth at safety there. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's just a little worrisome. So let's see any questions out here. They want to somebody said bring Hunter Renfrow back to play cornerback.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say put Hunter Renfrow at safety. I don't know. He had that one play against the Chargers on the fake punt, blew somebody out.
Yeah. What about the linebackers? We can talk about the linebackers, Matt. What are your thoughts on some of the linebackers?
Guy who I actually thought had a pretty good game that was surprising. I think both of us read him off, and a lot of people read him off. Amari Burney came up and made a nice TFL against the run. I think he had a couple nice plays against the run. I think there was one play where I think Masterson actually probably got like the pass breakup or whatever, but he was right there too. I thought he actually had a pretty good game just from judging off the broadcast. He seemed like he was playing a little bit faster. And again, I mean, the guy that's never been good against the run, even going back to his days at Florida. And I thought he stepped up and he at least made you think about him a little bit, which is I think what you want to do in the first preseason game. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how he plays throughout the rest of the preseason. He caught my eye. I thought he had a pretty good game. Just overall, he was for right now. He's kind of like the star of the linebacking core. I thought he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought Burney really was flashing a lot, making a lot of plays, making a lot of tackles. He's just really, really showing what he can do. His movement skills looks like he got better against the run. So, I mean, yeah, he's outplaying Masterson. That really kind of was, shocking us a little bit. But I thought they looked really good out there.
Also, I don't know if you saw it.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw it, but on Jones's pick, Spillane just trucked whoever the running back was on the blitz. It was not. He little boyed him. Like I thought he was going to be going to the sideline doing the little man like putting his hand down. But yeah, that was a nice rep by Spillane, just manhandling that running back in as a blitzer. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah. What else we got? I mean, Sass, who you guys like at QB? I mean. I would rather see O'Connell win this job because I don't know if they really like separated this game. Let's say it that way. I just know O'Connell had the starter element to him because he was out there with the first team, and then once like Andre James and those guys were out, he was out. So I think if Minshew gets that look next week, which we probably will see. I mean, maybe I'm not sure. I mean, I was kind of expecting Minshew to take it there this time, but. Yeah, I think from we don't have a future quarterback standpoint, I would rather see O'Connell, take it. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? But just to see, like maybe who knows, you know what I mean? Like that, it has that type of it's more mystery to me, I guess, because Minshew, I just know it's gonna happen, I guess, right? Yeah.
I love it. Even after the preseason game, we're sitting there saying, "Yep, they're still pretty neck and neck." It's just gonna be the whole way up. The rest of the month, they're neck and neck.
No one's gonna say. What made some plays? The other made some plays, right? But I know people do love the scrambles, but I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, Luke Getsy is not. I can just tell by Luke Getsy the way he treated Justin Fields and the way he talks about scrambling in press conferences. I don't think he's a fan of scrambling like you guys are. I just don't think he is. Just my personal opinion. I don't think he is a fan of that type of quarterback. Like he likes the athletic quarterback, but he wants an athletic quarterback that's going to sit there and
That's
be in the
smart.
pocket.
That picks and chooses when he
Yeah.
uses that. Like that's my issue with Gardner Minshew is like, and it happened this game too, where I'm like, he runs into pressure and runs into sacks because he just like his like internal clock goes off, and even if it's like there's a clean pocket, he just leaves. Like he did that again today, and it's like, dude, just stay there. And I think that's whereas like with O'Connell, yes, he's a statue, but at least he sticks in the freaking pocket when he doesn't leave when he doesn't need to. And I feel like that's when Garner Minshew like gets into playing hero ball, and I'm like, you're not good enough to play hero ball. You don't have the skill set and the arm strength to play hero ball. Please just sit in the pocket until it
Yeah.
actually breaks down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mean that's what happens in Harrison. He gets blown up, but he did make some good throws though. So
He
I mean
did. No, yeah, he did.
he made I think so he probably had the better throws of the day, right? So if you're going based
Yeah.
off that, then yeah, he had the better throws. But I think a lot of fans when they see that, right, they see that the throw and they're like, yeah, he got the job. But I don't know. I think there's more to this because I was not expecting him to come out there first and be taken out like that quick. I was not expecting that. So I think there's more to that quarterback competition than what is put out there because yeah, Minshew's going to move better and he might do some things like that, but doesn't mean that they like that.
Yeah.
It just from a quarterback coach's perspective, and that's what I try to do on the show a little bit more often is kind of give you guys more of like a not a fan thought process because from a fan thought process, yeah, you see Minshew throws touchdowns, you throw the pass, you're like, yeah, right. But from like a coach's standpoint, like AOC's in the pocket, is more efficient. That's what a quarterback coach likes than what Minshew does a little bit. So yeah, you might see him scramble, but maybe there's something he could have hit that quarterback coach is like you should have went there instead of scrambling, right? Which is fine, but that happens, man. I mean, Mike Holmgren hated Brett Favre for the longest. He did not like Brett Favre. Like, he's like, yeah, no, yes. That's the type of thing. So, yeah. So I guess this is how I'm trying to put it out there. So, like, because to be honest, I was a little shocked, to be honest, just to see him out there first and then be taken out so quick. I was like, has nothing to do with anything I've heard so far. Right. I've never would have expected that. So it was just weird, but I don't know. Maybe it was quarter to quarter. I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. I don't know. You give your thoughts, man. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think you're right. Like again, I think we talked about it too. Like if you're saying like who had the better throws, like who had the more highlight throws, like it was Gardner Minshew. It's just, but as far as like playing quarterback and operating the offense, I think Aiden O'Connell had the advantage. And I mean, I talked about it when we were talking about it earlier. I think that's what AP wants is more what you're talking about too. I don't think AP, obviously you want to have like the 45-yard bombs with Trey Tucker, but I think AP would take the more steady Eddie drive where like it's more conservative and they're operating the offense and keeping everything on schedule versus Gardner, who's kind of like who's more erratic and like that's just how he is and that's his play style. And sometimes it works out really well, or you get those big plays, and other times it ends up with a guy going to the hospital or getting knocked out. So that's
Yeah.
I mean, I think you summed it up pretty well. Like, yeah, Gardner Minshew's going to make the more exciting plays, and he's definitely the more exciting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But Aiden O'Connell, I think, is going to be, or at least today, was more efficient overall and kept the offense on schedule more consistently. So
Yeah.
biggest thing was we got to see more plays from O'Connell, like the third down throw we were talking about earlier, where he stepped up. If he can do those and do enough of those and string enough of those plays together, I think it's his job. And obviously continue to manage the game, so to speak, and just not make the mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you were saying that AOC was here, but he was picked after Getsy. I mean, I don't know, maybe. Who knows? I just hear Getsy, and then how he tried to play with Justin Fields. I could just tell he's just not a guy who likes. He's more of like run my concept. Especially West Coast guys are like that too. The game management from AP. No, I don't know. Maybe that's a concern later on, but I wouldn't. Maybe he was just trying to get some guys some work.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is like I'm not gonna put too much weight in the game management. Like I get it from like okay, yeah, he doesn't have a ton of coaching experience, so you'd like to see him get reps in game management. But at the same time, like they're more concerned about evaluating the guys on the roster and getting those guys as many reps as possible versus like actually winning the game and actually like picking the right spots where you would in a game when you're trying to win to use your timeouts and that kind of stuff. Like it's tough to not harp on him in the preseason for game management again, because the goal is really more to evaluate the players than it necessarily is to win the game.
Yeah. Kind of talked about this. I said corner on this one. So, look for some corners for sure.
Yeah, experienced corners.
I mean, I did like Adrian Martinez today, though, man. Out of Nebraska for the Jets, he was balling today. he let the UFL. Go ahead.
I saw your tweet from him. I'm like, dude, we're talking about Adrian Martinez. Are we going back to 2016 all over again? Like, damn.
He led the UFL in rushing and passing. I'm just saying. I don't know.
He's one of those guys like in college sports and college football, especially with the COVID, where you're like, damn, that guy's still around. Like where was he last year? Where was he last year? Where like,
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
But that's the thing about development leagues like the UFL. Like maybe he maybe those guys like become pro quarterbacks because I mean if you lead the league in yards, passing and rushing and win the championship, and then maybe and then come out in preseason and you look pretty damn good. I don't know. Maybe there's something to it, but that's never gonna happen. There would never be like a UFL guy, like they sign a UFL guy like to start. That would never happen in the NFL. It doesn't matter. They would go Sam Darnold instead.
That's right. Yeah. Adrian Martinez finished at Kansas State. That's right. That's what I was thinking. There was someone else though that transferred. I thought it was from Nebraska. Maybe I'm wrong, but never mind.
All right, let's get to a couple more questions before we get out of here. Thoughts on Dylan Lobby design runs? I thought he looked pretty good, man. It was, one of them was a hold, and the other one was kind of a draw type of thing. But I thought he looked pretty good out there. He looked like he could handle it.
He made a couple guys miss, which like was nice to see. Like the draw you're talking about on like 3rd and long. Like I wasn't. I don't care about the 10-yard game, but he made a nice move on a guy to make somebody miss. And like there's another run I think he had where he put a nice little move and got a couple like forced missed tackles. My problem with him is there was one, and again, the offensive line didn't help him out, where he just bounced it immediately. And you just can't do that in the NFL. And that's kind of the big issue with him coming out of New Hampshire's the guy. If there's any sort of muddiness in the middle of the run, he's taken off towards the sideline as soon as he can, and I think he needs to be a little bit more patient. But no, he had a couple nice moves out, at least in open space.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I mean, you're not gonna see that much from him. I don't know how much we're gonna see from him if Romero Dulas to get more carry, get more snaps than him right now. So maybe these things aren't as fluid as we think they are too. That's what I was learning watching this. I feel like I was being lied to a little bit, even by like AP, man, because he said they're gonna play like both would play with the ones. I mean, Minshew was not out there with the ones, so are they gonna go back and forth next week? Is what I'm saying? So he had me all confused this week. I thought we were gonna see like a lot more equal action there, and it just wasn't equal. So, but. Yeah. Any last thoughts, man? Before we get out of here, we got almost 700 in here today, man. I appreciate
nice.
this.
Appreciate the turnout.
I hope we get 1,000 after Raiders wins, because I think after Raiders losses we'll get 1,500, because that's when Raiders fans just like to come and just let it all out. We're gonna get 1,500 on losses, 1,000 on wins this year. I think that's I think it's gonna go.
It's misery company, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
We all need to come in and commiserate together after a loss. I like it.
100%. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like I said, got some film. We got film, man. We got film, guys. We're back. It's football time. We're gonna have film for you Tuesday. We have a breakdown. I'm gonna join the membership. I'll probably do both quarterbacks, which is my favorite time of year to do preseason quarterback breakdowns. It's like 10 throws each. So I'm gonna do both guys every single throw. We'll check those out and look out some players individually. So join the membership as well. So hope you guys appreciate this episode and hit the like button, like my man Phil Jurinario. I hope I said that right.
I think it's probably a Hispanic name with a J and H.
Jurinario, maybe.
I don't know.
See, we're terrible at this. We're terrible. Yeah. And then cop a t-shirt, man. Cop a t-shirt, guys. I hit you. Where's my I'll put that up here for the
big QR code.
Yeah, the QR code right there.
I I think you
Take a
need to make
picture.
it bigger, dude. It's not big enough.
It's not big enough. Just in case, man, you miss it. Just in case you missed it, it's not big enough, right? All right. But enjoy it, guys. Appreciate you guys. I'm out of here. Peace. It's Filipino. It's Jay. So I got it right.
Okay.
Jay.
There we go.
Yeah, we got it right. All right, bro.
I'm overthinking it.